Hi guys, welcome back to the Mission Empowered podcast with me, your host Emily. Hope you're all having a great day, and as always, hope it's about to get a little bit better after this episode. So, what do we do when we feel a drop in motivation? Now, the reason I'm recording this is because this is very personal to me at the moment as well. And I always think, you know what, if I'm going through it, someone else is going to find it helpful as well. So, I've just come back from holiday. If you're looking on video, you'll see my little holiday hat in the background. They're going in the loft because we're done with the holiday for this year. But I have come back from holiday this week and I have felt really drained, really tired, and demotivated. I haven't been, before I went away, I was super motivated to get my sessions done. I was being really consistent on my diet. I was just all guns blazing because I had this big goal of going on holiday and feeling red for it and wanting to feel amazing for it. And I did. But I also understand that motivation doesn't stick around all the time. It's normal for motivation to not stick around all the time. And that's why it's really important to understand that we can't rely on motivation all of the time to keep going because it's not there, okay? And it is normal that if you have been working towards a big goal, that big goal has come and gone, to lose that motivation because you're sort of in an area of like, okay, now what? What am I training for? What am I trying to eat healthy for? Or, what am I trying to eat healthy for? What is my goal at the moment? So what do we do when we come back, not just from holiday, but when a big goal has passed or we just feel a bit demotivated? So the first thing we need to do is understand that this is completely normal. I've got so many pop-ups on the screen, right? We need to understand that this is completely normal and that it's okay to feel demotivated because we're human, we're not machines, okay? We can't press a button to be like motivation mode activated, motivation mode off, okay? So the first thing you need to do is give yourself a little bit of grace that after that big goal has been and gone, that it's normal to feel that way. But at the same time, what so many of us don't do is we don't give ourselves grace and be like, okay, I'm not feeling motivated, so what can I do? What we tend to do is go, I'm not feeling motivated, I need to push harder, I need to go again, come on, oh, I'm so shit, I just can't do it. And we beat ourselves up about it, which is the complete wrong way to come at it, because it is a normal cycle to not be motivated all the time. And I'm in it at the moment, okay? Like I said, I worked really hard up until my holiday. About 4 weeks before I went away, I had my photo shoot, so I was really motivated for that. Then straight after my photo shoot, I was still motivated because I was going on holiday. Now I've come back, I'm like, I'm not going on holiday. I've not got a photo shoot, but I always like to have a goal. What am I training for now, okay? But at the same time, I still haven't found what that is 4 days post-holiday. That's okay. So I've given myself this week like a grace week, okay? It's not about a fuck it week. I'm not like, oh, I haven't got no goals, so what's the point in going to the gym? Or I haven't got no goals, so what's the point in planning my food or eating healthy? I've just given myself a week to go, right, what is still my plan this week? So I am not rebounding from this all mindset that I was in before a holiday to go to nothing. I've just said, well, I know that, looking at the bigger picture, I know that eating well makes me feel good. So I still need to do that. I know that moving my body is actually good for me. Coming away from an aesthetic goal, it's just good for me in general. Okay. It boosts my mood. It's looking after my health. It helps me have better digestion. But at the same time, I haven't been motivated to go and smash PBs or get straight back into a strict regimented plan when I got back off holiday. So this week, I have still had a plan, but I've made an easier plan to keep. I've said to myself, right, still plan your food, because otherwise, if you don't plan your food, that's actually going to increase your stress levels because I'll be thinking, oh my God, I've not been in the shop, or we've not got anything in for the baby or in for our meal. So I still planned my food. And when a real thing that I do is if I don't know where I'm at, I go to my default. And my default is, well, I still need to eat protein. I still need to eat my fruit and veg. And actually, what I have on my phone, this will be really helpful for you. Oopsies. We actually have a default shopping list in our notes, both me and Ollie. And that shopping list is just like what we buy every week. And so when it comes to a point where I haven't really got like a specific goal in mind, I can just go to that shopping list and know that if I go to the shops and buy that, it's going to have my fruit on, it's going to have my veggies on, it's going to have enough protein for the week. I'll just go and buy that. So you can still see I'm still planned, I'm still organized, even though I'm not like driven massively towards a goal. So that's a really good tip. But yeah, so I have my plan of my food. In terms of training, as I said, I still want to go to the gym. I'm not super motivated to go in. Mindset wise, it's weird. Like I feel like I've come back from holiday and I need another holiday. If anyone isn't aware, I have just been on my first family holiday with my 8-month-old little girl. So it was a different holiday, but I've come back feeling pretty like, I don't know, I feel a bit exhausted, to be honest with you, even after a holiday. But I also feel like when you go on holiday, it takes you time to wind down. By the time that you fully wound down, you're then coming home. So we don't expect you to, we're not expecting ourselves to come back off holiday and be like, right, straight back into it. You probably do need to give yourselves like a week after coming back off holiday to get back into your mojo. Now, I know that, so I'm not being hard on myself, but I feel like a lot of people don't tap into that, and they do come back from holiday and they either go straight back into it or try and go back into it full force, or they just don't give themselves a little bit of leeway. And that's really important, is to give yourself that week after coming back off holiday to say, right, I'm just going to take it easy this week. I'm going to get myself back into the flow of things. Next week, I'll feel a little bit more normal and we can go at it then. So like I said, to this week, I've given myself that grace and just said, right, train 3 times. 3 times is our minimum this week. So I took Monday and Tuesday, I didn't train. No, trained yesterday. So Wednesday, did a session. Thursday, I'm doing cardio. I'm going to CrossFit. Friday, I'll go to the gym. And Sunday, I'm doing yoga. That's enough for me. I might even squeeze a session in Saturday morning, but that's not rigid in my plan because I'm giving myself that little bit of grace. That actually on Saturday, if I wake up and I feel a little bit like still tired, at least I know I've still got my 3 sessions planned in. 4 sessions, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Yeah. So, but giving myself grace and still having a plan, albeit a lesser plan, is going to help me not press the fucking button. Okay. And it's okay to do that, because the other option that people do is they go, right, I'm going to get back into the gym as soon as I get off the plane. That doesn't happen. So then they end up swinging the complete other way, which is, oh, what's the fucking point? I'll just start again on Monday. And then they write off the whole of this week, eat shit, don't move. And then the Monday comes round and you're in a worse position, where what we want to do is just take this week where we're not feeling as motivated to say, okay, let's just move the goalposts down a little bit and let's do what we can. Let's still have a plan. That's going to help me come Monday to feel like, okay, I did some really good things last week. This week, like, let's make it better. So it's okay to not feel motivated all the time. In fact, it's normal. You still want to have a plan. You just want to move the goalposts a little bit, okay? Don't keep trying to show up every day 100%, because if you come back and you're demotivated and you're like, right, I'm going to smash it today, and then you don't smash it, and then you just come into the next day and you're like, right, fuck yesterday, I'm just going to smash it again today. You're going to get to the end of the week, you're going to feel more demotivated because you haven't been able to smash it because you're not in the right headspace. And you're just going to feel even more exhausted because you're just trying to keep throwing shit at the wall and see what sticks. Okay, you are so much better to drop the expectations of the week, move the standards of the week, and just do what you can. So for example, starting small, which is, like I said, just do your shopping, just do a healthy shop. Okay, if you're tracking calories to lose weight and you've had a week off doing that because you've been on holiday, maybe just again move the goalpost to not tracking calories, but knowing all of your main meals have got fruit and veg in and got a protein source in. Start there, start small, rather than going, I need to track everything. You only track your breakfast on one day and then you sack it off, and then the next day you're like, right, I need to track everything again, and you're not in the mind space to do it. Just think, right, this week, you know what? And my form of tracking this week is going to be fruit and veg at each meal, protein at each meal, bosh. Next week, I'll start tracking again. You then might even get to the weekend and feel like, do you know what? I'm in a better place now. I am going to start tracking over the weekend. Remember, you don't have to start on a Monday. You can start on a Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. That is definitely a mantra I live by, is that I start when I feel ready. I start when I feel good. Not necessarily ready, but I start when I feel good headspace-wise, rather than wait until the Monday, because all that's doing is just getting back into that all or nothing cycle. I've actually done a podcast on how to break the Monday cycle. It's really, really helpful to go and listen to that. So starting small. So like I said, easy tasks such as planning meals rather than tracking. When it comes to steps, okay, just start wearing your watch again. I chose not to wear my watch on holiday. I wear my watch, every single day of the year, apart from when I'm going to social occasions, because I don't like looking like a spy kid. And I knew that I was with the baby every day last week. I knew that I was going to go for walks every day. So I knew that I was probably going to be active every day. But you know what? 1 week of not hitting 10K steps is not going to break or make the bank when I come back and do it every single day anyway. So I took a week off from wearing my watch. So this week I was like, do you know what? I'm going to wear my watch again and I'm just going to see where my steps are at. Fortunately, because I've got back into normal, I've hit my steps, okay? But again, small habit, just stick your watch back on. If you've been doing, or if pre-holiday or pre your goal, you were pushing 12, 14K steps, just come back and be like, right, I'm just going to try and do 8K steps a day for that week. And then the following week, be like, right, I know I need to hit my goal now, so back up to 10K a go. Rather than coming home and be like, I'm not wearing my watch, I'm not going to do my steps, what's the point? Small actions are going to keep moving us forwards, okay? So, easy tasks, like I said, put your watch on, start tracking your food from like just a portion perspective rather than tracking your meals, and then training. Just move. Go to the gym. If you are in the position where I am at the moment, where I'm like, I just haven't got the brain space to go and get back into a plan fully after coming back off holiday, I just went to the gym and I'm like, right, okay, I'm just going to hit every part of my body with one exercise. So I know that I went to the gym and I did leg press, leg curl, lat pull down, shoulder press. Then I did some press ups and I did some core. So that is all of my, and I did some abduction. So I've hit legs, I've hit glutes, I've hit back, I've hit shoulders, I've hit core. Like, I'm good. And that was enough for me. And again, it's tapping into that mindset of not comparing that to a session that I did 2 weeks ago where I was like PB'd on my hack squat, really pushed myself in my workout. It was enough to just go and move my body because that was better than the alternative of doing fuck all. Okay. Same again today. I'm going to CrossFit. So I know that I'm going to hit cardio today. I'm not expecting to go and feel like it's been my best session ever because the other option that I've got is to not do anything. So I know that going to CrossFit today and doing my cardio is better than the other option, which is I'm not motivated to do anything. Okay. Tomorrow, I know that I would have had 2 workouts under my belt. I know that I'm going to show up to my session tomorrow and feel better. I can already feel that momentum coming back. So maybe I'll have a little bit more of a structured session tomorrow. And then on Sunday, I'm doing yoga. So in my head, I know that I'm going to have done 2 resistance, 1 cardio, and a stretch session this week. That's amazing. That is enough. That is the baseline of health. That is going to make me feel so good to go into next week with back into my plan again. Okay. And full honesty, I'm actually in the process of signing up with a coach myself at the moment. Yeah, we'll get on to this. Okay. I'm in the process of signing up to my coach at the moment because I know that I have just done a really successful fat loss phase solo. Okay. And I don't really do a lot of things solo. The purpose behind me doing it solo was that I wasn't sure post baby. I wasn't sure post baby how much I could push and pull because I've never been in this space before. I know I can do fat loss on my own. I've prepped myself for my honeymoon solo. I prepped myself for, what else have I done? I've done it before anyway. So I knew that I can do fat loss from my knowledge and my self-discipline. I knew that I had enough in me to give what I needed to give to get myself into a good space post baby. I wasn't expecting anything of myself, of my results post baby. I was just going to do what I could because obviously I was being mum. I was back to work. I didn't want to overwhelm myself. I'm now in a position where I know what time I've got to give, the level of energy and effort that I've got to give. I'm now in a position to go and sign up to a coach because I can show up to that coach and say, look, these are the days that I trained. These are the times that I trained. This is what my week looks like. Here's my expectations of what I can give. You keep me accountable. You go and do my plan, okay? I massively believe in what I do as a job. I think it is so, so powerful. And that is why I sign up to a coach myself, because I know now if I was to program strength training, that's the phase I'm going to go into now. But if I was to do that myself, I could do it myself, but I also know that I will absolutely now get better results working with external accountability, because it's human nature. It's fact. Whether you think, oh, I know what I'm doing, I can do it on my own, you can't do it as good if you've got external accountability. End of, full stop. There's no ifs and buts on that, okay? Think about this, right? The best football players in the world, they have really good ability. Do they turn up and say, I don't need coaching because I'm good and I get it on my own? No, they have coaches to make them better, to hold them accountable to be better, okay? Us average Joes, we're in a worse off boat than they are, okay? We even though we know what to do, it is still massively, massively more beneficial to have someone to hold us accountable to do that. And like I said, full honesty, I'm signing up to do that now. I could have got better fat loss results in my postpartum journey with a coach, okay? The reason I didn't do that, again, like I've said, is because there was no expectations. I didn't want the best fat loss results I could have ever gotten because I didn't know where my capability was mentally by bringing up my daughter for the first 8 months, okay? Now I know where I can put my effort and how much effort I can put in. I can go and say to someone now, can you keep me accountable? And this is what I'm working with, okay? So when motivation, like I'm so in touch with like where my motivation levels are at, I know that I need a coach now. Now is the time. Okay. My motivation is a little bit low. I need someone to help me take the load and to be organized for me while I can then go and prioritize life in other areas. This is the power of having a coach. Okay. I know that I'm going to show up to someone on the days that I don't want to do X, Y, and Z, because I'm checking in with someone at the end of the week who's going to hold me accountable to it. It is powerful AF to have that. So that is like the other reason that when you're feeling demotivated, it isn't waiting to be motivated to go and ask for help, to ask for a coach. You do it when you're demotivated, okay? On the flip side of that, though, being motivated is an also great time to go and ask for a coach because you're not an expert. So when we're demotivated, it is great to go and ask for help from a coach because we do all the hard work for you, put it into place, you've got that accountability. When you're motivated, you think you know what you need to do, right? Unless you're a coach, you don't know the best way to do it, okay? You are probably going to be motivated and go hell for leather and push yourself into that all or nothing mindset, okay? A coach will stop you doing that. So when you are motivated and feel like, yes, that is also a great time to sign up to a coach because you can take all that motivation and put it into the right plan, okay? What so many people do when they're feeling motivated are put all that motivation and energy into the wrong plan, into the wrong areas, okay? So motivated or not, coaching, like I said, I massively believe in what I do is for my job is a great choice to make. Okay. So, but let's bring it back to this pod. When we're feeling demotivated, asking for help is key. Okay. Because like coming back to my first point, what you're going to tend to do is probably just wake up each day or each Monday and just be like, I'm going to be more motivated this week. Go. That's not where motivation comes from. Let's move into momentum motivation. So motivation comes from action, okay? Not the other way around. Action doesn't come from motivation. If you're waiting to be motivated to make that first move, you are going to be waiting for a long time, or you don't know when you're going to be motivated to do it. What science proves to us is that by starting small and banking, just, even saying to yourself, let's say you've not been tracking your food, doing your steps or doing your workout, just saying to yourself, right, I'm actually just going to do 10K steps today. That's my aim for today. And I do this a lot with my clients as well, is that when people are feeling overwhelmed, don't just be like, I need to do everything. You don't. You need to do one thing, do it really well. That is then going to bank you momentum motivation. Okay, that is a little pin in your pocket. That's not a saying, but pin in your pocket to then the next day go and do it again. So you're going to bank more momentum motivation. The next day you do it again. Like I said, by the weekend and you've hit your 10K steps every day, you are like, okay, I can do that. Great. I'm now going to add in tracking my food. So you do your food on day one, you tick off day one. Okay, food's in MyFitnessPal, hit your calories, hit your protein, boom, done. You then go to do it again on day two. Before you know it, a week's passed. You've now hit 10K steps for 2 weeks and you've done your food tracking for a week. Okay, your motivation is now going to be high because you're proving to yourself that you can do the things. You've started small and you've built it up. Okay, yes, it's going to take longer, but this is where people again go wrong with expectations of results. When you are setting yourself your expectations of what you want to achieve, and we see this a lot on the Fit and Six, right? On the Fit and Six, we say, yes, we're going to give you your calories, give you your protein, give you your workouts, give you your steps, give you accountability. So everyone's like, cool, all I have to do is show up and do that every day, and in 6 weeks I've lost a stone. From a black and white perspective, yeah, that's all you need to do. That's not real life, right? That's not real life, because you're going to have days where you drop the ball on things, where you have social occasions, maybe where you're poorly or something comes up in work. So we don't throw that all or nothing mindset at you, okay? We just want you to consistently work on building them things up. So that might be, and what we see a lot is in week 5, people are checking in saying, oh my God, this week I did all the workouts, tracked all my food, did all my steps, drank all my water. But that's taken them 5 weeks to get to that point of consistency, because week 1, they were hitting just below their steps, but they were focused on tracking all their food. Week 2, they could only fit in 3 workouts rather than the 5 workouts because this is all new to them. So, but they kept trying, and by week 5, we've got everything come in. So can you see though how expectations of results are? If I do that every day for 6 weeks from day 1, I'll get there. Yeah, but that's not reality. Reality is we need to work on these habits and build that momentum, motivation to eventually get to the point where we can do everything. And this is where you're going wrong with your results as well. Is that you're thinking, I just need to show up every day, do all my steps, smash my workouts, and track all my food. But we know that that's not the reality. Okay, so you have to move the expectations of your results to a little bit longer to accommodate for that. You're not going to feel motivated every day. And if you're giving yourself 8 weeks to get this exceptional transformation, but 1 week out of that 8 weeks, you're feeling really flat and feeling demotivated, and you're having to take that week where you just go, this week I'm just doing steps, and actually I can't track my food because of X, Y, and Z. So I'm actually just going to meal plan of hitting my veggies and hitting protein at each meal. That's a week where you're not hitting them standards that you need to be hitting to get that exceptional transformation. And there's nothing wrong with that, apart from in your head, you're now feeling like you're failing. Okay, so this is why we stretch out your expectations of results a little bit more than what you think, because it is going to take longer, because you are going to have weeks where you are going to struggle for one reason or whatsoever. God, I can go, can't I? And just realize I'm not even breathing. Okay, so this is why results take longer, is because motivation isn't there all of the time. Okay, and learning to accept that isn't a try and do that. Like, you need to do that because it's reality and it's real life. And I am a coach and I am going through it right this second. Okay, but I hopefully by doing this episode is going to help you give you some food for thought if you're having a bit of a demotivated week. Of you still need to have a lesser plan. You don't have to have the 100% plan. Drop it down to 40-50%, but still have a plan, because throwing it out the window right down to 0 is only going to set you up to feel shitter for when you do come back to get that plan in place. Okay, so, and the last thing, which I know I've just touched on, but it really is asking for help when you're demotivated. It really, really is. Like, there is nothing, like I've said before, but nothing more powerful than just reaching out to someone. Like, if you found this episode helpful, this is what I do on my calls when people reach out to me and say, I need your help. I'm feeling demotivated. I'm not showing up to the gym. I don't have a plan. I keep fucking up my diet by smashing it too hard. Like, this is exactly what we talk about on the calls, and this is how I help, because I have this knowledge in my toolbox to go, right, well, this is what we need to do to start. But what you are probably doing is wasting weeks and months on end just going, I'll show up on Monday and I'll be more motivated on Monday. you won't, because it doesn't work like that. Okay. And even if you are more motivated on the Monday, all you're going to do is overload your plate with too much and then be demotivated by the end of the week again. So if you are feeling demotivated, my number one point of call will be ask for help, reach out. Okay. That is going to be the most powerful thing you can do. And then underneath that, make sure that you are giving yourself grace to be like, it's okay to be demotivated. Just to follow on from what I just said though, if you're feeling like your demotivation though is lasting weeks and months on end, you do need help. You need external help. Reach out for me. Okay. Drop me a message, say, I've just listened to the pod on be feeling motivated. I probably do need to have a call with you. But giving yourself grace of a week or 2 weeks where you are feeling demotivated, remember, just drop the goalpost to the plan. Okay. Still have a plan based around health, showing up, moving your body, eating whole foods, eating your protein, drinking your water. Move your step goal down if you need to. If you keep failing hitting 10K steps and you're only hitting 5 or 6, just say, right, smaller steps. This week, I'm going to do 8,000 steps. That's it. I don't need to do 10. 8,000 steps, okay? Build up that momentum, motivation. I promise you, this will work, okay? But you have to give yourself time and grace to go, it's okay to have these weeks. We are so hard on ourselves that we are not willing to say it's not okay to have a week where I bring the goalpost down. I'm failing if I do that. You're not. You're human, okay? And motivation out of thin air is like gold dust, but we can help ourselves by building momentum, motivation, starting small, building it back up. If you do this over, like I said, like a 6-month period, and have maybe 1 week every so often when you pull this down, it is so much better. And you are going to see so much better results in them 6 months rather than doing 3 weeks, nailing it super, super hard, and then having 4 weeks where you feel deflated as fuck, and then doing 3 weeks again. In 6 months, who do you think is going to have better results? Person A, who has been consistent, giving themselves grace, but has had that consistency of doing, ticking the boxes, or person B, who actually in 6 months has actually only had 8 weeks of on-off progress because in between they've just been in this all or nothing mindset. Okay, the majority of us listening to this are person B. Okay, so person A, that's you now. If you need help, reach out for me. Let's have a chat. Let's get some accountability. Let's get a freaking plan in place so you don't need to rely on motivation. Okay, I'll leave it there. So wish me luck. Like I said, I am giving myself grace this week. My motivation hasn't been super high. I've nailed the basics. I'm already coming into the weekend feeling like, okay, next week's going to be a better week because I set myself some smaller goals. I'm in the process of signing up to a coach, which I will keep you updated with. But I am proof in the pudding that this shit works, okay? Follow this. You'll be fine. We're not meant to be motivated all the time. You're not a freak. You're not weak-willed. We just need to get that plan in place. Right, guys. Love ya. See you next time. Have a good one.